Snack-sized business.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Snack-Sized Business. I'm your host, LB Adams, and it is my joy, it is my love to bring to you and amplify the voices and doings of women in business, women entrepreneurs, women who are makers and or creating and driving industry. So today on the show, I get to introduce you to Erin Marcus. She is the CEO of Conquer Your Business. So her 5 facts are really interesting, maybe some of the most interesting I've found yet this season. All right, so here's fact number 1. She got into powerlifting when she was 19 years old. She used to compete in the same competitions as her dad, who is about to turn 80, and he's still lifting and holds world records in the bench press and is an international judge for powerlifting competitions. She says that's how they spend time together, and it's allowed her to meet people from literally all over the world. That is so wild. At 40, to manage stress from starting her entrepreneurial journey, she decided to learn figure skating, as one does. By the end of the year, she won a blue ribbon in an adults beginner competition with a 90-second routine to Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. So she says the next crazy thing to try was 2 rounds of aerial arts, trapeze, silks, and other contraptions. She used to volunteer with a dog rescue, but then moved on to wildlife rescue when she moved out of the city a few years ago. So now she had worked with squirrels, raccoons, possums, or opossums, and about 1 million baby ducks and all sorts of birds. So we definitely have to ask her about, is it possum or opossum? Is the O silent? You decide. She says that her 5th fact is she is covered in tattoos, not like a cute one here and there, but an entire back piece, her entire right side, and more. She said she was 18 back in 1988, and that's when she got her first one, when tattoos were a different kind of a thing then. So, how interesting is she? I'm so thrilled to welcome Erin Marcus, CEO of Conquer Your Business, to the Zoom. Hello, Erin Marcus. Welcome to Snack-Sized Business. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, so excited to be here. This is awesome.
Terrific. Okay, so before I jump into the 3 questions, I have some other questions for you. So can you tell me about, well, first of all, powerlifting? Like, I go to the gym, I lift, and I know how powerful it makes me feel, but I don't power lift. So can you explain what the difference is between just sort of regular lifting and powerlifting?
So powerlifting is actually an organized sport. It's not as popular in the US as Olympic lifting, which is the lifts you see in the Olympics where they throw the weight up over their head. Yeah, powerlifting is a mixture of squat, bench, and deadlift. Those are the 3 lifts in a powerlifting competition. So it's an organized sport like any other organized sport. And the workouts, I'm little enough where I used to do bodybuilding workouts in order to compete in powerlifting. Right. But my favorite thing about powerlifting, especially for girls, is 1, you get to eat. You're competing against yourself. You're competing against other people the same size as you, whether you're 5 feet tall like me or are super heavyweights like my friend Benita. It doesn't matter. Wow. And it's just a very team-focused, empowering sport that isn't about standing on the sidelines cheering for the boys, how exactly you look, fitting into any particular category. So
can you explain, is it about the amount of weight that you lift or for how long you can hold it? What are the criteria?
It's the amount of weight that you lift in proportion to how much you weigh. So
okay.
Right. So if I lift 125% of my body weight, that is going to be a larger person who technically lifts more pounds, but it's a lower percentage of their body weight. Right.
That's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I might have more questions later, but let me ask you this first. All right. So what conversation do you wish that you'd had, but you did not?
What conversation? Wow. So the first one that immediately comes to mind is with my grandmother before she passed. You know, she was in and out of the hospital, and I wasn't calling that frequently because she always came out of the hospital. Right. So I wish I talked to her more in that last week, but there was no way of knowing that was going to be the last week.
Rarely, if ever, do we know the last time is the last time for anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's a good answer. Tell me, what do you love? And when I say love, you know, some people are like, well, what do you mean? Do I love it the most? How do I love it? But I mean, what do you love about what you do?
So here's a perfect example. I love, we bought what's essentially my dream home this past summer. And the phrase that I kept thinking about as we were looking was immersed in nature. I wanted to be immersed in nature. So my office is upstairs in a loft. Right before we jumped on here, I went downstairs to get more coffee. I looked out the window and I've got 4 ducks in the pond in the back of our house. So I love wild animal life sightings, like watching the animals be what they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I just have that childlike response every time the squirrels are at the feed or the birds are at the feed or the ducks are in the pond, even the coyotes, right? The coyotes running through the property. I have, you know, it's kind of like you drive down the road and you're like, oh my God, cow, right? It's like, it never ends. I never don't have so when you say, what do you love? I think back to my instinct was to say, what delighted you as a child?
Connect that to what you do. How does that factor into how do you love about what you do?
How do I love about what I do? I think it's so interesting about connecting that, because the tagline for my company, be in charge, take action, get results. The bottom line is be in charge, right? The core of it all is be in charge, not in a big, mean control freak way, but in a be in charge of your life way. You don't have to wait for permission. Don't sit around waiting for someone to hand you something. Don't live on the leftovers you think you're allowed to have. What do you want? And so when I connect what I love to what I do, my goal, now I happen to work with entrepreneurs, but I have the same point of view whether I'm working with my health, family, any other business I've been in. Choose what you want and create it. And so it's the same, you know, helping other people tap into what they really want and realize that they're in charge and able to create it. They don't need permission. All of those things, right? To create the whatever it is for them.
Activate with that. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, that's fantastic. All right. So let me go back to your 5 facts for just a quick second here.
Sure.
So I know that you and I have talked about this, but can you tell me about the ice skating? Because all of the things that you could have decided, like a cold thing with sharp blades, probably would have been the top of my list.
All right. So here's the thing. Keeping in mind that I've been a power lifter since I was 19 years old.
Right.
And in that type of exercise, there's injuries possible because you are getting up under more weight than you know you can lift, hoping that you can lift it, right? And so in my head, there's a little bit of it's not a sport if you can't get killed. There's a little bit of that, right? There's a little bit of that going on. And
it's definitely a tweetable.
There's a little bit of that going on. So when I left my corporate world and jumped into entrepreneurship, going to the gym, which is what a lot of people do for stress relief, didn't work for me because one, I no longer had the time to work out the way a strenuous workout is for me. And my mind can wander when I do it because of muscle memory. I've just been doing it for so long that it doesn't take me out of my head. Chose figure skating for two reasons. One, I always was intrigued by it. But two, the whole idea of being uncomfortable, right? Get uncomfortable being uncomfortable. Not get uncomfortable so that you can work through the discomfort, but staying there. And if you want to pick something that was massively uncomfortable for me, right? So I do that a lot for myself. What externally can I get used to discomfort in, and being perfectly fine with having no idea what I'm doing and sucking at it, so that
You did not know how to skate at all?
No. I mean, I could stay on my feet instead of my butt, but that was it. I'm also only 5 feet tall, so I have a low center of gravity and decent balance. It's not hard to not fall down when you're this short, right? Because I'm already down there. But I needed something to make it okay for me to have no idea what I was doing and have fun having no idea what I was doing.
I think that I need a little bit more of that in my world too. So thank you for that. I feel like that's inspirational. Thanks.
Cool.
All right. So let me go back to our third question. What communication advice do you live by?
Okay. Can I have two? If two.
You can have two.
Number one, this is one of the biggest mistakes I watch entrepreneurs make. Every piece of communication only has one intention. No matter what you're doing, they all have the same singular intention. It's to invite somebody to take one more step with you. That's always the intention. So there's no such thing as a 30-second elevator pitch, because you are not selling something that costs a lot of money to a stranger in 30 seconds. It means you're skipping steps. And if you think about all of your efforts at communicating as just with the goal of inviting someone to take one more step with you, you will do amazingly better in cultivating your relationships with referral sources, with prospects, with your community, the whole 9 yards. So that's my big business advice. And
so in that vein though, I want to jump in for 1 second. I've taught a multitude of elevator pitch workshops. And so that's about finding the language that captivates who and what you are.
Yes.
In imperative in that, and what I teach everyone is that you're not going to sell. The whole point of an elevator pitch is to get to another conversation.
Exactly.
So fit in exactly with what you're saying.
Exactly.
Like, if nobody's going to buy from you in a 30-second pitch, it's just not going to happen. What they will do is lean into your energy, your style, your truthfulness, whatever interesting thing you're going to say, so they have another conversation. So
Exactly.
We're right here with that, my friend.
100%.
So what is your second communication advice that you live by?
Avoiding difficult conversations doesn't mean they don't happen. It just means that they've limited your opportunities and they will happen at the worst time possible.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Difficult conversations are absolutely necessary to move your needle forward.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
And you can decide what the word difficult means to you. It could be telling a team member they're not living up to expectations. It could be a sales conversation. It could be anything that makes you uncomfortable is a difficult conversation. So that definition is wide open. But avoiding those conversations basically puts somebody else in charge of your outcomes.
Yes. Avoiding those conversations puts someone else in charge of your destiny, of your outcomes, of your situation. Yeah, I completely agree. Conflict conversations are sort of the way that the world moves forward. Nothing new ever happens because we all agree.
Exactly. Well, and the job of a business owner is to solve the next problem.
Right. Yeah. Oh, 100,000%. That's amazing. All right. So On a sidetrack though,
Yes.
how do you say possum or opossum?
They're technically opossums, and I say possum. But I tell you that because they make fun of me at the wildlife rescue because the possums, as I call them, are one of the animals I'm still not great working with. I love them, and they freak me out. They're so fun and so cute, and they're so not dangerous.
Right.
They're really not gonna get you. They don't want to get you, but they look like they could if they wanted to.
Well, that's their whole defense.
Right, exactly. So there's been more than one time in my wildlife rescue volunteer life that I have run from the possum enclosure to go get backup. And I get teased mercilessly.
Possum 911.
Yeah, I get teased mercilessly about the fact that that's what I'm scared of.
Well, Erin, thank you so much for a fun and funny and really interesting conversation. I have loved this time together. Thank you. And
Awesome.
So can you please share with everyone how they can connect with you and what you might be able to do for an entrepreneur?
Awesome. Thank you. Absolutely. So we make it really easy. All you have to do is go to the website, conqueryourbusiness.com. Conqueryourbusiness.com has pop-ups, free resources, everything you need, ways to get a hold of us, ways to follow us. It's all run right in one place. And the way that I describe what I do for people, I work at the intersection where what you need to do meets who you need to be to do it. So we help entrepreneurs get that emotional and financial freedom they need to build a business and a life that they're proud of.
Brilliant. Well said. So you take your own advice. All right, my friend, thank you so much for spending time. I absolutely appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Snack size